My girlfriend Cierra and I built this cabin last spring for around $10,000. We live a little bit differently than most millennials do. We do not have any plumbing. We have no running water. We are completely off-grid. Now, a lot of people have their own definitions of what off-grid means, but off-grid means you are not connected to the power grid, so you'll never have an electric bill. Now, you can see we have a fridge here, a TV. We have the comforts of a home that is on-grid. The only difference is we just produce all of our utilities ourselves instead of paying for them. We don't have a water bill, we don't have an electric bill, we don't have a heat bill, none of that. There's many different ways you can go about living this way, and in this video I'm just going to share with you guys how we go about our tasks, how we get our water, how we heat, how we go to the bathroom, how we shower. All of that stuff, all those questions that a lot of people that are looking to go off-grid or at least curious about the subject, I'm going to go over in this video and just show you how all of our systems work and how we do our tasks. First things first, and the most important part of living off-grid and living this way is your water. So the way we go about our water is pretty labor-intensive, but it's free. We melt snow during the winter and we collect rainwater during the summer. For melting snow, we just use a 5-gallon stock pot. And there is an art to this. You want to have a little bit of water at the bottom of your stock pot because the snow that you're about to shovel in there will melt way quicker than if you don't. And then you just pack that snow in as tight as you can possibly get it because it takes a lot of snow to make just a little bit of water. You really understand the importance of water when you can't just go turn a faucet. After the stock pot's full, I always sweep the bottom off. Head inside, set it on the wood stove and forget about it. And in about 15 minutes is all it takes usually for that snow to melt. Now I said that we don't have running water, but we sort of kind of do. This is our kitchen faucet right here. Now it doesn't look like it right here, but when this jug is full, you actually get pretty good water pressure out of it. You'd be surprised. For our showers, very simple. I have my old car battery here. I hook that up to this RV pump. The hose on the left goes down to that stock pot. The hose on the right goes up to the shower head. Very simple. Those 12-volt transfer pumps come with a switch. You just flick that switch, and you can see you get really good water pressure with those little 12-volt transfer pumps. Well, we've covered water, but what about bathroom needs? Me personally, I prefer an outhouse. It's pretty nice to start your day off with a little nature walk and being able to look outside and watch all the birds and everything as you do your morning business. This is Cierra's toilet, or when we have company, you know, not everybody wants to use an outhouse. Underneath that toilet seat, you can see I have an access door. There's a 5-gallon bucket under there. When you're done, you flush with sawdust or pine shavings. There's no odor whatsoever. So that's how we do our water and bathroom needs. Very simple. Well, the first batch of snow for the day is done melting, so time to go water the chickens. Having chickens with no electricity is a little bit more challenging. You know, you don't have a heated water dispenser, so I gotta change their water pretty frequently, usually about 2 to 3 times a day, depending on the temperature outside. Now, this is our first year having chickens. We got these 7 Isa Browns last spring as baby chicks, and we grew them up. They never had a heat lamp or anything. We just kept them close to the wood stove when we were staying in our tiny house while we were building our cabin. And all 7 of them are still alive and they lay eggs like crazy. So we must be doing something right. In fact, it looks like there's 2 chickens laying eggs in that nesting box at the same time. That's the first time I've seen that. Not sure why they're doing that, but either way, works for me. It's a pretty good relationship we have with the chickens. You know, we keep them warm, keep them fed, keep them watered, and they give us food in return. So we have a pretty sweet deal worked out. Between the chickens, fishing, and hunting, most of our meat comes right from the land. Well, now let's get into how we heat the place. Our primary heat source is firewood. And it has been a very cold winter here in northern Minnesota, so we've been using a lot of it. Because we were so busy building the cabin last spring when I would normally be doing firewood, I didn't get as much put up as I'd like to. I got some put up, but not enough. I have about 2 cords of good, dry, split and stacked, ready to go firewood in the woodshed. But lately I've just been going out and getting good standing dead dry firewood as I need it. That way I can keep that 2 cords as kind of a safety net. And yes, I do own a chainsaw, but as quiet and as peaceful as it is out here, a chainsaw, I don't know, that noise just seems like it doesn't belong out here sometimes. So I've been doing it by hand instead. It's quiet, it's peaceful, and it's a good workout. It's pretty awesome how sometimes just the most simple things can bring you the most joy in life. Heating with firewood is probably my favorite part about living the way we do. You can't just set a thermostat with a wood stove. It's up to you to keep the fire going. It forces you to get up off the couch, go outside, be active, get some fresh air, which I think is a really good thing. It's definitely true what they say, firewood warms you twice, once while you're cutting it and once while you're burning it. But there is no heat that compares to wood stove heat. It warms you right to the bone. Plus you get to sit and watch a campfire right inside your cabin. And who doesn't like campfires? The downside of heating with wood though, is if you're not there to keep the fire going, then your cabin is going to freeze up. So you can see I just have a 100-pound propane tank that I get filled when I'm in town. I just hook it back up to the line, strap it back to the side of the cabin, that way it can't tip over. And this is our backup propane heater. It's really nice because it's vent-free, so you don't have to put a hole through your wall. And it has a built-in thermometer, so if I just turn this thing to 1, it'll keep the cabin at about 55, 60 degrees while we're gone. It's really propane efficient, and it's certainly nice not coming back to a totally froze up cabin if we leave overnight. We also have a propane stove. We do a lot of cooking on the wood stove, but the propane stove and oven is really nice during the summer when you don't want to be running the wood stove. Now the propane stove and the propane heater, those aren't necessary, those are just convenience things. And speaking of conveniences, we have solar panels for electricity. Electricity is a convenience. You know, people lived without electricity far, far longer than they lived with it. So it is not needed for life, but it does make a lot of things much easier, like refrigeration, though we are educated on how to refrigerate and freeze our food if we did not have it. But being able to plug in a fridge and just not even think about it is really, really easy and very convenient. But this time of year in northern Minnesota, solar panels are basically worthless, unless you get a real sunny day, but you can see we're only bringing in 16 watts today, so practically nothing. But it certainly is nice having lights instead of having to use, you know, candles or lanterns or headlamps. Being able to flip a switch and have light is pretty sweet. And we are also able to watch TV, which is really nice during these long, cold, dark winter days. This time of year, since we don't produce a whole lot of power from the sun, we do run the generator quite a bit to charge up our batteries. We are really lucky that we get to live the way that we do. We live a simple, debt-free life with little to no bills. We're constantly surrounded by nature. It truly is the ultimate freedom. We work hard, and then we play hard. At the end of each day, we feel accomplished. We got a little piece of land. We got a house that we built ourselves. We got some animals. We're living real close to the land. I think we truly are living the American dream. Well, there you have it, my friends. I guess the point of this video is just to show people that, you know, there are other ways you can go through this world that we live in. Life can be as complicated and stressful or as simple and cheap as you want it to be. You know, we were able to build our own place here for about 10,000 bucks, a few $1,000 to finish off the inside with the interior work. And that's it. You know, it's pretty tough to afford a home nowadays. So I'm just putting out the information on how we were able to do it very cheap, do it all out of pocket without going in debt. We have no utility bills, as I said. You know, a little bit of propane and gas for the generator might come out to be about 120 bucks a month we spend on that stuff. And like I said, it's not necessary. It's just a convenience thing, so it's a justifiable expense. One thing people always bring up is, well, what about property taxes? Of course we have to pay property taxes. But when you live rural and you have an inexpensive house, your taxes are pretty cheap. We pay less than $1,000 a year for property taxes here, so pretty affordable. So if you've ever thought about doing something like this, or RVing, or tiny housing, or maybe you're tired of caring at the office and just want to get out of the rat race and all the drama going on in the world, I would say just go for it. I mean, that's what we did, and we have no regrets. If you like this sort of thing and you want to see how we built this place, I have a full series. You can watch this thing get built from beginning to end. I also have a couple off-grid log cabin builds. Same thing, you can watch those from beginning to end. I'll put the link to those videos in the description. But you guys take care. I appreciate you watching, and we'll see you on the next video.